I grew up in construction. My dad was a land surveyor. I grew up in Southern California out doing land surveying, and specifically bridges was like his area of expertise. And when you're planning a bridge, there's not a lot of adaptive. It's not adaptive at all. It's like, well, maybe
Right,
it
right.
rains, and so you don't come to work, but that's about it. The bridge starts here, and you meet in the middle, and those things better be right. And you hire very well-paid engineers to plan the work, and then we execute the plan.
All right. Well, so excited to have Mike Lyons on the Real Life PMP podcast. And Mike, thanks so much for joining. Let's just go ahead and get things started. What's your
Yeah. Hey,
30-second elevator explanation as to what you do?
thanks. Yeah, it's a treat to be here with you. 30-second elevator pitch. I help teams build better products more efficiently and help companies earn top line revenue growth and reduce bottom line cost reduction. Hopefully both.
Excellent. Like, okay, so let me add on to that.
Was that 10 seconds? That was only 10 seconds.
This is my podcast.
Fine, go ahead.
I want to know, based on that description, who is attracted to you or who do you attract to your services and offerings?
Yeah, it's primarily going to be technology development teams that are in the product delivery space. So think like software companies and consulting firms that are helping and coaching and coaching product development teams. Kyra as a company, we don't offer coaching services. We're a product company, so we achieve those goals by way of our products. So I have a lot of experience in the product development space.
Excellent. I like that. And that definitely is a conversation that I get into a lot with
Yeah.
my project managers and project management group is, what is this product management? Do I
Oh
need to
yeah.
get more agile? So I definitely want to go into some more questions around that. And before we dive into questions, what's a fun fact about yourself that is not on your resume?
Um, one fun fact I would say, I don't know if it's fun, but it is interesting. We are a homeschooling family, so I've home educated all of my children my oldest is 27 years old now. So like we were homeschooling way back in the day, in some cases, like where it was just becoming legal to be allowed to homeschool. So there you go. That's kind of something interesting or unique about me, I guess.
Okay, so what was your favorite subject to teach, or what are you always the go-to?
Oh, yeah, I'm the principal of the school, so like so we're assigning roles, but I did okay, but you know what? Like there was this one season where I got to do a creative writing program
Ooh.
that was really so much fun. Because I got to learn too. And so yeah, probably creative writing would be.
I love it. Well, I think that's such a nice segue into our conversation and what you do and the products that you create so that
Mhm.
creativity kind of flows into your work. So I love it. Well, in talking and learning about what you do, kind of my first question for you is how would you kind of describe the current state of agile delivery in organizations? Are we truly seeing a shift away from the big A in agile? And that's always been a debate. Do you say little a agile or big A agile? I'll let you answer that for the group, for the
Yeah,
audience.
I, yeah. If we were to say Big A Agile, it would be make sure you read scrumguides.org and follow Scrum to the T. Then you're doing Big A Agile. Okay, well, maybe there's a place for that. Lowercase a Agile is like the sort of um, description or adjective, the word Agile, and I think organizations are not shifting away from lowercase a agile. If anything, it's going the other way, isn't it? It's like I need to be more agile. The
Mhm.
the economy is different in 2024. The landscape doesn't look wonderful in 2025. So how do we be more agile and sort of maybe responsive as an organization? But
Mhm.
maybe what's going away is the big A agile, as we're calling it, the sort of well, gosh, if we just implemented Scrum, we would be doing better. It's like, not necessarily, or worse, if we implement a scaling methodology, maybe scaled out a framework or less or something. It's like, I don't know. Those are big A agile transformations. And what we're seeing, in my opinion, is that that's not going to do it. You have to fundamentally shift the way you work. Lowercase a, you have to be agile. Um, but there's no question the industry is changing. We see it all around us. I know you probably have many friends, I do as well, that found themselves, without a job in 2023 and early
Yeah.
2024. In the US, we lost 300,000 jobs just in the tech sector, just in the US. 300,000, that's a lot. And 2024 didn't start off much better either. So we see that happening, but I think organizations need agility, lowercase a, now more than ever.
Hmm. Since we're on that, I mean, it can kind of get to semantics, but
Mm.
I teach and we are teach project management concepts, and we are in this space now where we're using more of kind of like the big umbrella term of adaptive, right? So using
Wow.
adaptive, and
Hmm.
agile is kind of like the far end of adaptive. So in between, you can implement iterative or incremental projects, and then just the far extreme of being adaptive is agile. Has that kind of come up in debates and conversations with your customers, with your colleagues about, is it really about being adaptive, or do we just need to focus on being agile, even though iterative and incremental delivery is also a part of it?
Yeah, I think I like the term adaptive. Adaptive as a form of an organization becoming adaptive and being able to respond quickly to the sort of environment they find themselves in. And I believe there's many, many different ways to do that. I mean, if you think about like this idea that if you're doing something that is sort of not novel, it's we've done it this way. I know how to do it. Like we're going to do it again and again and again. Then a more predictive type approach to delivery. Why wouldn't you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't you, you know, plan the work the plan? I would, because it's going to drive out all the ambiguities, you know.
Right.
Um, and maybe that's that side of the pendulum that you're describing, that like if that's your organization, if that's what you do. I grew up in construction. My dad was a land surveyor. I grew up in Southern California out doing land surveying, and specifically bridges was like his area of expertise. And when you're planning a bridge, there's not a lot of adaptive. It's not adaptive at all. It's like, well, maybe
Right.
it
Right.
rains and so you don't come to work, but that's about it. The bridge starts here, and you meet in the middle, and those things better be right. And you hire very well-paid engineers to plan the work, and then we execute the plan.
Mm-hmm.
What adaptive do I need to be in that, really? But if you are doing something, so kind of swing the pendulum. If you are doing something that's new or not never been done before, where sort of the target end state is, I don't really know. I just know there's a problem out here. My customers are asking for me to solve it. I don't really know how to get there. I don't even know what it's going to look like it when we get there. Well, now you're on the other side of that pendulum where you need to be quite adaptive. And that's where sort of agile methodologies are going to come into play, things, and how, depending on how far you want to go, like just flow-based delivery is the
Mm-hmm.
most agile of all. And then somewhere in the middle, you've got this, well, we're doing incremental delivery and an iterative process. Okay, that smells like Scrum to me, but you call it whatever you want, but that's what Scrum is. So
No, I think something that you said, that it was kind of like this, harps playing in the background for me, was if you have a customer who is open enough, right, to say, we have a problem to solve. Can you help us solve it? I don't care what you call it, but help us solve it. And I think the challenge sometimes is that organizations struggle to be articulate and explaining. I just know they just think that it needs to be, I need this thing. And so we get caught up in producing the thing without having the creativity and flexibility to be
mm,
adaptable. And I don't know if that's something that you also find, is that it's it's not so much of being open to say, we have a problem, help us solve it, whatever it takes to do that. It's just, we think we need this and just build it. And wow, you know what? Agile sounds really cool. Let's do that. Let's do it that way. And that
We
like,
need this.
oh, I don't, I've,
Oh,
I've like broken all my pearl necklaces for
totally.
clutching them.
I'm clutching them so hard. But you're hitting right on it. It's here's the exact problem we want you to solve and be agile about it.
Right.
Why? Well, then what do you want me to be agile for? Like it is. And then maybe it's sort of like, does Big A Agile get in the way and make things
Mm,
worse and then gets a bad name on it? And it's like, I thought I read the book. I thought Scrum was supposed to get twice the work in half the time. I mean, I read the book. Like, what are you doing?
it's a good
Why
book.
is it taking you twice as long? What's happening? And you're very
Right.
expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so all of that comes from what I think you said is intriguing, is this idea of, well, are organizations open to discovering as they go?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, no, not very often. Not a lot that I see. They're like, especially if if you're hiring someone to come in and help your organization. Now, internal teams, and maybe you've proven yourself over some time, then I think we're seeing like the Office of Innovation kind of saying, hey, let's discover as we go. And this is where terms, this is like the whole reason we invented the minimum viable product.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's supposed to be minimum viable product. People just take little pieces of that word and make it with it's a product, right? No,
Right.
it's the minimum. No, it's got to be viable. It's got to be all of them. But if you're willing to take an MVP approach, like the lean startup approach from Eric Ries, if you're willing to do that with a company, I think you could probably have success. If the company's open to discovering as they go.
So, in adding into that, I think it really does start with the leadership, right? To really be open to that. So then, therefore, the kind of directive of not being directive, if you will, of
Yeah.
letting the team figure that out. How have you found success or seen others be successful in getting leadership on board with being open to discovery and then
Uh,
allowing your teams to be adaptable, agile?
my experience with that, and this has been true in many organizations that I've seen, is it's like if you ever go to Missouri and you look at the license plates, Missouri's the show me state. I think it's Missouri. We might have to look that
I
up.
think it
What
is.
is it? It's like one of them is the show me state. Okay. Well, whatever the show, if it's sorry, Mississippi. I don't know if it was whatever, but whatever.
My
It's M.
family's from Mississippi. It is
Okay.
not Mississippi.
It's not Mississippi. It's an M state. Anyway, whatever. The point is the point is that you got to show them. You got to show them. Like if I come into an organization of, hi, I just want to talk to you about the agile mindset and how if you just think differently about product development, they're going to be like, by the time I can't get 2 slides in and they're going to say, yeah, I got to be able to take a team and be like, well, you know what? In 2 weeks, I'm going to have a product that I can show you and it works in production.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do that in 5 days. Let me show you a product in production in 5 days. Oh my gosh, how did you do that? Oh, and it's secure and you can use it right now. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
well, now leadership's interested and they're like, well, maybe there's something to it. But if you don't show them show me state, if you don't show them working software in production, then it's all just fancy PowerPoints and tap dancing, if you ask me. And if I'm a leader, and I am a leader in a company, I just don't buy it. You got to get me working software. I value working software over documentation. So that must be true. The manifesto is what, 24 years old. Working software over documentation must mean in sales and trying to convince you otherwise as well, mustn't it? You show up with a
Mm-hmm.
PowerPoint, you're out of position already. So show them. Show them. Give me a team for 5 days, and I'll show you what we can build and do. It'll blow your mind. It ain't gonna be pretty. It's a skateboard, if you
It's
will.
an MVP. So you also have to tell them that.
Yeah, pay attention. Yeah. So that's been my experience. And so like to that end, then the teams need to know how to do that. I think that this whole construct of like the agile mindset is askew. I don't think it's necessary. I think what's necessary is teams need to learn how to do things in a new way lowercase a agile delivery.
Mhm.
And there's vehicles to do that. Sure, Scrum's the easiest one because it's the most prescriptive. You just plop in, just follow the Scrum guides. It's 12 pages. It's not that hard. Just like let's do a 5-day sprint. Sweet. And we built the thing. It's ready to go. Okay.
Mhm.
Now we demo that to leadership and they're like, oh, I want more of that. Okay, cool. Let me tell you how you're going to do that. We're going to train everybody first. First things, we're going to teach everybody how to do this. So that's kind of my 2 cents on how we do that. You got to show them. It's a show me state.
Well, that is truly helpful, and I think it is. Of course, you got me. Get it. Train them, right? Like give them the
That's
tools so that they can be successful. Does the training stop with the team
mm,
itself, or is there some level of training at the leadership, product
well,
owner level?
that's a great question. I mean, and I'm mixed on this. I'll just be honest. I'm mixed on this. Like if I the boardroom isn't sitting around wondering if they could all learn Scrum. Like
Right.
no board member cares at all.
Ever.
They're just not. You imagine the CFO going, okay, I can't wait to go to a 2-day training and get my ICP. Like, no, what do they do?
One day, Mike.
No, never happened. They're just not going to do it, right? They're not going to go. They're not going to do it. Why? Because that's not what their challenges are. That's not what their interests are. Now, could we do some training with them? Maybe. But it's more like around sort of new ways of working in 2024 and beyond. And everybody's talking about AI. So, how do we get people thinking about like sort of what could be and to get training on dreaming with your teams? I think that's what leaders need to do. They just need to dream with the smart people that do work, because the boardroom is filled with people who don't do work.
Hmm.
They don't do work. You talk about work. The people who do work are in the trenches. They're the ones that are in the cubicles. They're the ones putting the zeros and ones into working software. They're making you money. Well, go dream with them. That's what I would train them on. Just go dream with your smart people that are building things. I think innovation doesn't happen in a boardroom. It happens in the cubicles, where it happens in the field. So I don't know if it's
Oh, yeah.
training or not, but yeah, it's just a different way of thinking. And I think it starts by letting people learn to do on their own, to do things, in a different way.
Thank you for tuning in to Real Life PMP podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it with your network. Your support helps me bring more inspiring stories and valuable insights to project managers everywhere. Until next time, this is Crystal Richards signing off. Keep managing those projects, and remember, PMs are needed everywhere.